Welcome back to my channel. My name is Elizabeth, and the only life crisis I'm having here isn't mid, it's Sims. Today we are back with our Ultimate Decades Challenge family, the Godfreys, and this episode is going to be a little bit shorter than the last couple, I think. We're basically playing through the summer season, so it's pretty much all of 1307 and the year 1308. And it took me forever to decide how I wanted to edit this, so I'm just going to kind of do it as an overview, and we're going to recap what happened in the summer season. Right here, the family is just getting up, making breakfast, getting ready for the day, and we've got some farm chores ahead of us. We're milking the cow, we're checking on the chickens, making sure they're fed and that their coop is cleaned out. So Henry and Hugo are taking care of those activities. Meanwhile, Thomas goes out to do some foraging. He stops and meets some rabbits in their little burrow on the way. And he also finds some plants to harvest, some that we're going to actually be able to use as seeds to grow some additional crops this season. Back at the farm, there's a love fest going on between our chickens and the stray dogs that are hanging out. We've got more chores going on. And as Henry's heading back into that house, we get a little notification that Annalise has now gone into labor. So we do our death rolls. She passes. We do the death roll for the baby. And he passes as well. So we have a birth. It's a boy. And so we go ahead and name him Bartholomew, just from our list of names that we've been referencing. And the parents are super happy. After that, everybody heads to bed. And of course, in the morning, Annalise is the first one up because little Bartholomew needs some help. But everybody on the farm is up pretty early. Henry is helping one of the new chicks hatch and showing them some love. This day is also holiday, so Thomas and the kids go into town along with Henry for church, and the kids get to go to their first church service and meet some townspeople. Back at the farm, everybody gets a good meal, and it's getting pretty late on this midsummer holiday, so we got to get to bed. But before that happens, it's actually time to age Bartholomew up. So we do another death roll to go from baby to infant, and he passes that. So we get to get our first look at our wiggly little infant, Bartholomew, who has the trademark Godfrey red hair. Not everybody had a great holiday. There were a lot of traditions we didn't get complete, but that is the way it goes sometimes on the Godfrey homestead. So everyone goes to sleep. In the morning, Thomas is up taking care of our cow as part of our morning chores that we're just getting started with. Henry notices that we need some more assistance with the weeding in our gardening, so he goes over to check on our bird flock friends who are going to help him out with that, and he runs into a townsfolk on his way back to the farm. In the house, Thomas and Cecily are getting some quality time with the kids, playing and taking care of them, but we are starting to feel the growing pains in the household of everybody kind of being squished together. And so it is definitely time to start thinking about having Hugo and Annalise move out. But first, we have an age up for Peter. So we have to go ahead and do that death roll, randomize his trait, which is going to be practice makes perfect. Then we have another visit from Grim. We get a lot of those on the farm. This one is for one of our white chickens. A few hours later, he's back for our cow, which is the first time we've lost a cow. But it's summertime, so the kids have a lot of fun playing in the pond in the back of the property. There's a look here at our all aged up Peter. Inside, Cecily is making some breakfast for everyone. So she does that and calls them to a meal. As we can see, everybody's really kind of dirty, and there's a lot of issues going on the farm because of that, how tight everyone is. And while that's happening, the Grim Reaper comes back, reaps another chicken. Annalise is making sure her baby's getting a little rest, even though he's kind of stinky. Peter's getting to know the dogs, and Thomas is really excited that he finally got a chance to take a bath all by himself. Cecily's out putting laundry on the line. Now it's Hugo's turn to give Bartholomew a nap. More laundry for Cecily. Thomas is teaching Peter how to do the farming, so they're out checking on the crops in the field. More laundry for Cecily. And now that everybody is down for a rest, it's got time for us to go ahead and split that household so everybody could get a little bit more room. And so we move Hugo and Annalise and Bartholomew to their new house. Henry, Thomas, and Peter are there to help them get settled and move in. After they say their goodbyes, they head into town on the way back to the main homestead to go ahead and buy a few things at the grocery cart, mostly some seeds and such, so that we can do our some more planting. And then decided that we needed a few more seeds, so we stopped by the garden shop as well. And we're going to pick up some of those seed packets, thinking ahead not just to summer, but also to the fall crop as well. Back at the farmstead, we do plant some of those, trying to see if we can sneak that in before the end of season. And then Peter is also learning how to take care of the plants and helping weed and things like that. Peter's decided he's going to go and get to know the birds as well. Even though Henry has made good friends with them, he's going to try to keep that relationship going in the future so we can continue to have that relationship and have the birds help with the farming. And after that, everybody is going inside to go get some dinner. It's towards the end of the day, and the family is getting reacquainted with having a little bit more space now that Hugo and Annalise moved out. But we do get a visit from Cecily's father, so he comes by to chat with the family, and everybody gets ready for bed. After Petrus heads home and everybody else heads to bed, Cecily and Thomas realize they have a little bit of time together, so they head off to bed together. But a few hours later, little Hugelina is up, just running around the neighborhood, just running out in the forest. But then she does actually come back home and go back to bed. Just as the sun is rising, we see another visit from Grim, so he goes and reaps one of the brown chickens and takes off once again. Now we have our new cow. So we had a black and white cow. Now we have a brown and white cow. And we're also finishing up with the rest of our planting to see if we can get anything else to grow in the summer season. Cecily and Peter are taking care of other things around the house. Thomas has decided to jump in and help out with some of the laundry because Cecily has been just working her arms to the bone doing that. Everybody's grabbing some food since they've been having a busy morning already, and it's just midday. And then it's back to more laundry for Cecily. Back inside to take care of some needs and checking in with her children, specifically making sure that Hugelina, the littlest member of the homestead, is doing all right, because she still does need lots of parenting and taking care of. And then back out to the farming. So Thomas is checking in on the crops and just seeing what they need, doing some research, talking to the plants to make them grow big and bountiful, because tomorrow is the last day we're going to be able to harvest this crop. Henry's getting some time to play with the dogs that have been hanging around our lot and building some nice little friendships there. He's actually thinking about getting one to keep. And then we have a visit from our friend Lily Mosier. And while she's here, she's decided to be helpful by clearing out the cow shed and chatting very nicely with Cecily. So they're getting along really well. Then she comes inside to hang out with Henry for a little bit. And we know that we've been considering her as a potential marriage partner for him. And the rest of the family is kind of pushing for that. So they encourage him to give her a gift. And she really likes it. So she gives Henry back a rose. And we see a little romance starting to develop before she heads home for the evening. So Henry and Thomas talk about that as they're finishing up this evening, lighting the candles, and Thomas is giving his blessing to Henry to go ahead and pursue that marriage with Lily. But again, outside, Henry is thinking about which of the dogs he wants to adopt, and so we do make a decision there. It gets down to 3 of the different dogs, and he does decide to go ahead and adopt Stella. After that, he's just real hungry but doesn't want to make any food, so he eats some of the preserved food that we have before heading off to bed, and everyone else is already asleep. Sleeping through the night, we're going to see the farm kind of going to bed for the night, and then we get a pop-up in the middle of the night that Cecily is pregnant, so that was a benefit for us having Annalise, Hugo, and Bartholomew move out, as we did have a slot in the household, and Cecily and Thomas's alone time the other night paid off in that respect. So we are going to be expecting another baby for that couple. Once she realizes this, waking up in the middle of the night, she goes over to tell Thomas, and they're both pretty excited about it. While he's up, Thomas decides he's going to go ahead and help out a little bit more with that laundry, just so it's one more thing we don't have to do in the morning. And then he goes around to evolve a bunch of the plants and water them so that they are as ready as possible for us to do our harvest once everyone wakes up on Saturday morning. Cecily just can't help herself with her neat trait. She's decided she just needs to clean everything up, even though it's 2 a.m. So she takes care of that. And Thomas is feeling pretty pleased with himself about the progress they've been making on the farm. Then, of course, Cecily decides that she needs to make more food. Why not? Maybe we'll have something ready for everyone when they get up in a few hours. So she's taking care of that while Thomas hangs out and keeps her company in the kitchen area. Thomas is feeling very moved, so he recites some sonnets for Cecily, and they have a little makeout session while they have some alone time and decided to take it back into the bedroom. In the morning, we make a stop over at Hugo and Annalise's to check in on how they're doing, and little Bartholomew as well. So Annalise is getting more experience as a parent, and they've just been getting everything set up around their homestead. They haven't gotten their farming started, but they're getting everything else set up as well. Annalise has a big revelation, which is that she is also pregnant. So she tells Hugo about that. And of course, they're very excited, even though she is feeling a little sick to her stomach. This same day, we also have an age up roll that we need to do for Bartholomew to go from infant to toddler. So we go ahead and take care of that. Cross our fingers, and he beats that roll. So we're able to go ahead and age Bartholomew up to a toddler, which is the first time we've successfully done this for Annalise and Hugo as a couple, which is really exciting. So here we are with Bartholomew, and we go ahead and randomize his trait for his toddlerhood. So he's no longer wiggly as an infant, but independent as a toddler, and we love that for him. And here is our first look of Daddy Hugo playing with little Bartholomew, who's got his curly little red hair and looking quite happy and healthy. But he is a little sleepy, so they go ahead and put him down for a nap. The parents decide to take a nap as well, and then we leave them there to head back to the main homestead, where Peter is coming over once again to help his father with some weeding and preparing the farming. Henry and Cecily are kind of having a little disagreement while Hugalina works on her imagination skills, playing with her little wooden toy. And we've also gotten a visit from one of our other friends who stops to chat with Henry and Cecily. Henry leaves the women to it and comes over. So it is time to do the harvest. And Peter isn't able to help them out with that yet, but Thomas and Henry take care of harvesting all of the crops for summer. Annalise stops by and she shares her news with Cecily, and they're both kind of having a rough time, feeling hungry, feeling grouchy, as they're both pretty pregnant at this point. But Cecily is able to go ahead and make sure there is food on the table so everyone can start feeling a little better with those needs met. Thomas, like the good guy he is, goes around and helps with cleaning up after the meal. And we see there Henry talking to Annalise about his plans to marry Lily Mosier, and she gives him a big thumbs up. Outside, Henry gets to play with Stella, and this is where we officially adopt her, even though we made that decision last night. So he gives her some love and does a little happy dance, pretty excited about that, before he starts working on training her and making sure that she has the things she needs in terms of food and a place to sleep and all of that. We do also notice Peter is making a little bit of a mess, As it is the end of summer, we were also able to make some upgrades to the farm, and so we added a llama and a llama shed in addition to the cow. So we're going to be able to get some wool off of the llama and maybe do some crafting with that. And Peter is playing with Stella, who is now officially part of the Godfrey family. And as it's the last night of summer, even Cecily gets in on the fun of jumping around and playing in the pond. And so it's kind of a family activity here on this last night of summer. Thomas does one more round of checking in on the animals before they head to bed. But on his way inside, notices that his mother has stopped by. So he gives her a hug and spends a little time chatting with her before sending her on her way and everybody heading to bed. And that is where we leave it at the end of the year 1308, the end of the summer season in our Ultimate Decades Challenge. Next time, we'll be jumping into future dates like 1308, 1309, 1310, and we hope to see you there.